Everyone, so welcome to my channel, and if you haven't hit subscribe already, please do so you can keep updated with the latest videos. So today's video is a bit more about self-compassion in sport. So my previous video was more about my opinion and views about self-compassion in sport, but this one is more about a bit of evidence supporting my views and my opinions. So I'm just going to turn the camera around so you can see all the evidence that I've put together. So when it comes to self-compassion in sport, the first evidence that we have is that it reduces self-criticism. What this means is that when you're dealing with mistakes, you're dealing with them much better because there's a reduction in self-criticism. And one of the reasons why athletes find it so difficult to deal with mistakes is because they cannot stop feeling sorry for themselves. They cannot let it go. And this is a very important thing because most athletes do deal with this, no matter what level they're playing at. So these could be amateur athletes, these could be academy players, or it can be elite athletes. Now, the reason why reducing that self-criticism and that self-critical voice is so important is because when you make a mistake, you have to understand that that moment is gone. It's over, it's gone. You cannot change it. And increasing self-compassion and doing exercises that kind of promote self-compassion within athletes is very important because that will help them to understand and accept that it's okay to make a mistake and that we can just easily move on. Now, the second thing that most people think is quite weird about self-compassion is that it can lead to becoming very passive. So if you become too self-compassionate, then it can be seen negatively by some athletes, but there is evidence that being self-compassionate is negatively related to being passive. This means the more self-compassionate you are, the less passive you become in your athletic career and in your sporting career. And the reason why this happens is because you're accepting what is and you stop making it a big deal. You stop magnifying the situation that you cannot change. So if you are promoting self-compassion among athletes, do not fear that they will become passive because that's not going to happen. We have evidence to support that. Now, the reason why they don't become passive is because we have another piece of evidence that says that when you're self-compassionate, when the athletes are self-compassionate, they are emotionally safe and they feel like they are seeing themselves in a very non-judgmental way. And that's what it says. It's emotionally safe and non-judgmental context. That leads to realistic self-expectations. So when mostly athletes make a mistake, what happens is that they try to overcompensate for their mistake. So if when they self-criticize, they overcompensate for that mistake and they do something that might be not as important to do in that moment. So they're trying too hard almost to revoke that mistake or to make up for that mistake. And that's when they have unrealistic expectations because what has happened has happened. The new moment is not going to be created according to how you want to compensate to that mistake. So these three pieces of evidence are very important and I hope that it helps you. So I'm just going to summarize it very quickly in a very small way. So the first thing is that it reduces self-criticism, okay? It doesn't make you passive. It's negatively related to being passive. And the third one is that it gives you an emotionally safe and non-judgmental context, which leads to realistic self-evaluation in sports. So this is why self-compassion in sport is such an important thing. And I think all coaches and sports psychologists and athletes should really start using exercises, especially mindfulness exercises and self-compassionate meditations for athletes to be able to do these things and to see a realistic self and to honestly work on themselves with a lot of compassion rather than, resentment and anger and frustration. Because whatever is led by compassion will always bear, sweet fruits at the end of the day. So I hope this video has helped you, and I hope you enjoyed this little short video with pieces of evidence as to why self-compassion is important in sport. And if you want to use these different exercises and meditations, I will be coming up with new audio sessions very soon, which you will be able to download from my website. So I will be putting down self-compassion meditation audio, and then you can use that and you can give it to your athletes. And I hope that will help them to be more compassionate and less resentful. So have a great week ahead, and I hope you enjoyed this short video. If you have any comments, questions, statements, all my details are in the link below. Take care of yourself and have a great week ahead. Take care. Bye-bye.